So the English Defence League has invited 2 American anti-Islam activists to take part in a march in Woolwich where drummer Lee Rigby was killed last month. Robert Spencer, who founded the website Jihad Watch, and Pamela Geller, who leads the American Freedom Defence Initiative, will attend the march and speak at the rally to mark Armed Forces Day next Saturday. Chairman of the Home Affairs Select Committee, Keith Vaz, has written to the Home Secretary to ban them from entering the country. Here is what he told me earlier.
No, we don't have something like absolute freedom of speech. We have laws, which means that if people speak and act in a racist way, they can be prosecuted. If somebody has a history of this kind of activity, then it's up to the Home Secretary to decide whether or not she wants to use her powers in order to ban them from entering the UK. And if she uses her powers, and I hope she does in this particular case, as she has done and previous Home Secretaries have done in many cases, I think that's the right thing to do. Why go and allow people in who we know are going to cause misery?
Well, let's ask that question now, because joining us is Tommy Robinson, leader of the English Defence League. Good evening to you, Tommy.
Good evening.
Thanks so much for talking to us tonight. Why are you holding this rally?
There's a couple of things to correct you on. First of all, it's not a march. Secondly, they're not coming to speak. Myself and Kevin Carroll are doing a charity walk to raise money for our armed forces charities. We're walking from Westminster to Woolwich, it's 9 miles, and then we're going to lay flowers. Now, a lot of Americans have been in contact since what happened with Lee Rigby, especially so close to the Boston jihad attack, and they want to take the opportunity to come over and show solidarity with the British Armed Forces. Now, with what I hear with Keith Vaz, I've never heard Keith Vaz ask for... This week we had a Saudi cleric come into this country who promotes the beating of women within Islam. We have many hate preachers and hate sermons coming into this country every month, every week even, to talk at mosques across this country. They're never stopped. There's never this campaign to stop them. Now, Pamela Geller and Robert Spencer are both well-respected individuals in America. They tell the truth about Islam and the ideology, and that's what Keith Vaz wishes to stop. We do have freedom of speech, as he said, and we value our freedom of speech. Now, these 2 people are coming, and I think it's great that they're spending their own time, their own money, flying into this country to stand...
You haven't invited them?
We've been in discussions with them for time. They said they want to come over for Armed Forces Day.
Have you invited them?
I have invited them to talk.
They haven't come over of their free will.
I haven't finished yet. I haven't finished. I've invited them to talk at an English Defence League event, not on Armed Forces Day. This Armed Forces Day is not an English Defence League march. We've told people clearly, if you go on our website and check, this is not about the EDL, it's about our armed forces. There's no EDL clothing, there's no EDL flags. This is done as members of the British public supporting our armed forces, which everyone should do on Armed Forces Day.
Fine. Devout Muslims should be prohibited from military service. Do you agree with that? That's something that Pamela Geller has said.
Yeah, Pamela Geller said that after a devout Muslim killed 5 soldiers and he was a serving member of the American services.
Yeah, I'm asking you if you agree with that statement, sir.
Do I agree with it? No. I believe that there are devout Muslims. It depends what you say by devout. It depends which sect. There's certain sects in Islam that are no problem. If you're talking about a devout Salafist...
Should Muslims be banned from military service?
No.
Thank you. OK, so in terms of them coming over, they will be speaking at an EDL meeting, a gathering?
They won't, no, they won't. They'll just be coming and laying flowers.
Yes.
That's the thing. They're not speaking at an EDL gathering, an EDL event. They're coming and finishing the last stretch of the charity walk that myself and Kevin Carroll are doing, and they're going to lay flowers on behalf of their supporters and the people of them. And I think it's great that they're the first people to fly into this country from abroad to show solidarity of what's happened and to do with this jihad attack. And I'm honoured to have them here.
It's interesting that I've just picked out one of their statements, one of their views. You don't agree with it, yet you think they speak the truth about Islam. That seems a bit of a contradiction, because you're now talking to me about being honoured to have them.
Yeah, I am honoured to have them. With what they're saying, when they're saying devout, you could be twisting their words. Or I don't know the statement. If you're on about a Salafi or Wahhabi Muslim, no, they should not be allowed into the British Army. Certain sects that are extreme sects, Saudi-funded sects, should not be. So when they're talking, or when they've given that statement, I'm not too sure about what they're talking about. I know it was said after a Muslim man who was in the American army turned his gun on American soldiers, killing many of them.
How do you... Okay, sir. How do you feel... I'm just trying to bring it back to London, because we're a London radio station, Tommy. So how do you feel about Help for Heroes, who rejected the money that you raised for them? I mean, you're still trying to raise money, aren't you?
Yeah, but the thing is, Help for Heroes are a charity for our armed forces. I've got a friend who lost his legs. I've got another friend that died in that war. I'm a member of the British public. I support our armed forces. I still support Help for Heroes, and I urge everyone else to, because of the great work they do. When they made that decision, everyone knows there was a big backlash against it. They were pressurised. This is political correctness in this country. Anyone should be able to raise money for our armed forces.
Yeah,
when they come out and done that, I felt hurt by it, and I felt I was not obviously happy about it. But at the same time, I'm not going to slander a charity that does amazing work.
Who do you think they were forced by?
Well, when I went on Radio 4 recently, the backlash from that, from The Guardian, from Fiaz Magal, from all these different Muslim politicians, they let rip at Radio 4. Some of them were threatening to sue them over having me on. So that was the consequence after I'd gone on. And in the same week as that, Big Questions, Newsnight and Daybreak all cancelled me from having me on their shows.
Why do you think that was?
Due to pressure from different organisations. Well, look at the pressure now that they're putting the Home Secretary on, allowing two innocent people from America who wish to come over and lay flowers. These are two people who are well respected in America. Neither of them have any criminal records. They've never been done for anything to do with hate speech or anything. And now there's this big campaign to stop them coming in. There's a big campaign to silence anyone saying anything that criticises in any way the Islamic ideology. Across this country. And that's what's happened with Help for Heroes.
You're speaking today, sir, and I appreciate it. Have a listen to this. Earlier I spoke to Anjam Mazroor, who's from the Islamic Society of Great Britain.
I've got a challenge for Robert Spencer. Give me one example of a Quran or Islamic lifestyle that contradicts with our lifestyle in Britain. Give one, Robert Spencer. Without, of course, lies and innuendos. He can't give me even one.
Okay, so
why don't you get Robert Spencer on the radio? Because he'll give you more than one. I can give you one. Surah 9:5, kill the disbelief wherever you find them. Lay in wait, ready to ambush them. I can give you many that say murder and chop the hands and feet. So if I can
give us the context of that, sir, because I could pick up the Bible and say an eye for an eye, couldn't I? Give us the context.
Okay, the context is Lee Rigby's killer said that he was forced by Surah 9.
No, we don't know, sir, because nobody. Hold on, sir.
He said.
No, we have to be very, very careful with this. Yeah. There is a trial which will take place. There are suspects. We do not know because nobody has been.
Forget about that.
We're working to the rule of law here, sir.
If I ask a Muslim, did Lee Rigby cause mischief to Allah by entering into Afghanistan with the British Armed Forces? Yeah, then the answer is yes. Now in the Quran, it clearly says.
How do you know what the answer is?
Because the man who killed Lee Rigby told us on national TV the reason why he done it.
Yes, sir, but until he has been convicted, and I appreciate what you're saying.
Let's forget about Lee Rigby then. Let's look at the 6 men that were jailed recently for 20 years for planning to blow up the English Defence League.
Hold on, it's difficult to forget about Lee Rigby, but what I can't do is I can't allow you to say they killed him because they haven't been convicted yet.
Let's talk about the 6 people that were convicted recently for planning to blow up the English Defence League. They clearly quoted from the Quran that the reason why they'd done it was due to blasphemy laws, where anyone who insults the Prophet Muhammad must die. Now that is well against what we stand for in our democracy and our freedom in this country. And there was actually 30,000 Muslims who marched through Birmingham calling for exactly the same thing. Blasphemy laws. 30,000, that's a lot. So I'm sure Robert Spencer could reel off hundreds, if not thousands, of things that contradict the freedom and democracy. Why did the European Court of Human Rights in 2007 outlaw all aspects of Sharia law? The reason why, because it's incompatible with Western democracy and freedom.
One of the things that you and I are going to have to do is engage in a debate, sir. I just can't allow you to just speak, because what you've done is you've talked about this man that you've invited who you say speaks the truth about what Muslims are, what they do.
No, not what Muslims are. We try to get away from the many great Muslims.
But he speaks the truth.
He speaks the truth about Islam and the Islamist ideology.
Anders Breivik, who's a man who killed 69 people in Norway. Fine, you regard him as you do. In testimony, he referred in his manifesto to the man that you're inviting over more than 50 times.
Yes.
The man that you are honoured to have in our country, the man that you have invited, the man that you
referred to the Beatles. He referred to the Beatles.
The man that you have invited over to speak, but paid tribute to somebody who died on the streets of London. The man who you say speaks the truth.
He does speak to the truth. You can't hide the truth. You can't the truth is not hate speech. If you give the truth, which is what we're trying to do in this country, Winston Churchill, or let's start with William Gladstone even, he said, previous Prime Minister and leader of this country, he said there will never be peace on this planet as long as we have the Quran. It is an accursed and violent book. Winston Churchill said, Islam in a man is like rabies in a dog. Yeah.
Do you appreciate? Right?
Now we have David Cameron saying Islam's religion of peace.
Tommy, do you appreciate how offensive what you've just said is?
Well, I didn't say. I'm just quoting quotes from our previous leaders of our country.
Fine. What I'm saying,
and if you're going to call them Islamophobes and racist, the difference is back then and now. Back then, we didn't live in an era of political correctness where you can't say the truth. Now we do.
What is the truth?
The truth is that Islam
the truth for some people might be that you have used the killing of a soldier, the slaughtering of a soldier on the streets of London, as an attempt to put forward your political ideology. As an attempt, I'll put it to you and I'll allow you to answer it, sir. As an attempt to stir up hatred. And the sad reality for some people might be that they haven't been particularly well attended, that the money that you've attempted to raise for Help for Heroes has been rejected, and this is a sad attempt at further publicity.
Well, no, what this is that what happened to Lee Rigby and his killer, we made a video in 2010 showing his killer. No one listened to us. We have warned time and time again about what's going to be happening. So no one can say we're exploiting it when, God forbid, we've tried warning people about this. It's going to happen again. They've gone from abusing our troops in Luton to burning poppies in London to beheading our troops in London. This is a slow progression that's out of control. Okay. And it's to do with leaders of certain organisations such as the UAF that are government funded, that have stood and give speeches that say our troops are justified for attack. Now, there's no way we've exploited this. The heartbreak we've felt and the whole country's felt of what has happened. What we're trying to do is make sure this doesn't happen again.
That's clearly not the view of drummer Lee Rigby's family, because they say please do not use this to hijack it as an attempt for hate. And I suppose from listening to you, sir, many people will think that is exactly what you're doing. I hope you think that you have had a chance to voice your opinion and give forward your views today. We appreciate your time very much. Therefore, you heard the speaker, the leader of the EDL. You heard what he had to say. How do you react? What do you think about what he said? How offensive did you find it? 020 722 42,000. Love to hear from you.